I've been sleeping with Derek for 6 months. I want a divorce. My wife's words hung in the air between us, suspended like the crystal chandelier above our anniversary dinner. 10 years of marriage shattered in 10 seconds. I set down my fork. The restaurant noise faded away. Only Melissa's face remained in focus, her expression a mixture of defiance and guilt. Derek? I asked, though I already knew. Her personal trainer, the guy she'd sworn was just helping with form. Yes, Derek. She straightened her shoulders. I'm moving in with him next week. Our waiter approached with champagne, the expensive bottle I'd pre-ordered for our 10th anniversary toast. I waved him off. Melissa leaned forward. Aren't you going to say anything, James? I was James Parker, 38 years old, senior software engineer at Nexus Technologies, reliable, steady, the guy who color-coded our spice rack and remembered to change the furnace filters, and apparently the guy whose wife had been cheating for half a year. On our anniversary dinner, I finally managed. That's when you decided to tell me? I thought a public place would be better. She glanced around at the other diners. Keep things civil. I nodded slowly, processing. The restaurant suddenly felt like a stage, and we were actors in a play I hadn't rehearsed for. How considerate, I said. Then I smiled and reached for my jacket pocket. Her eyes widened. Maybe she expected me to cause a scene. Maybe she thought I'd beg her to stay. Instead, I handed her an envelope. What's this? She asked, confusion creasing her brow. Open it. She hesitated before sliding her manicured nail under the flap. Inside were photos. Her eyes narrowed as she flipped through them, her face draining of color with each image. How did you? She stammered. No, I finished for her. About 3 months ago. The night you said you were at a girls' dinner but tagged yourself at the gym on Instagram. Small mistake, but it got me wondering. The photo showed everything. Melissa and Derek entering his apartment building, kissing in his car, having lunch at a cafe 40 miles away where they thought nobody would recognize them. I hired someone, I continued, just to be sure before I confronted you. Her hands trembled. You've been spying on me? I prefer to call it due diligence. I reached for the envelope and pulled out one more document, thicker than the photos. This is a divorce agreement my lawyer drafted. Everything's split fairly. The house sells, we divide the proceeds. You keep your car, I keep mine. No alimony since we both work. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for water. You planned this? She whispered. No, Melissa, you planned this. I'm just making sure I don't get blindsided twice. I stood up, dropped $300 bills on the table. Happy anniversary. I walked out, leaving her staring at the evidence of her betrayal. Outside, the cool evening air hit my face. My hand shook as I fumbled for my car keys. I'd rehearsed that moment for weeks, but nothing prepares you for actually doing it. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend, Alex. How did it go? I typed back. It's done. I'm headed home, or what used to be home. The drive to my house was a blur. 10 years of memories flashed through my mind like highway markers. Our first apartment, the honeymoon in Bali, the miscarriage 3 years ago that nearly broke us. Had that been the beginning of the end? I pulled into the driveway of our suburban home. The porch light was on, the automatic timer I'd installed last spring. Inside, the house felt cavernous. Empty, though nothing had been moved yet. I poured myself 2 fingers of whiskey and sank onto the couch. Our wedding photo stared at me from the mantel. We looked so goddamn happy. My phone rang. Melissa. I don't want to talk right now, I answered. James, please, her voice cracked. Can we discuss this like adults? Like the adult who cheated for 6 months, or the adult who waited until our anniversary dinner to drop the bomb? Silence stretched between us. I'm coming home, she finally said. We should talk face to face. No, I replied firmly. Not tonight. Stay with Derek. Isn't that the plan anyway? She began to cry. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. How was it supposed to happen, Melissa? Was there a good way to tell your husband you've been fucking your trainer? I hung up and turned off my phone. That night, I slept in the guest room. Couldn't bear our bed, thinking of her there, thinking of her lying next to me after being with him. Morning came with cruel brightness. I had 37 missed calls and texts, most from Melissa, one from my mother asking about our anniversary dinner, 3 from Alex checking if I was okay. I called in sick to work, something I rarely did, and started packing Melissa's things, not out of kindness, but to speed up the inevitable. Each item of clothing, each piece of jewelry, each framed photo felt like removing a bandage slowly, painful but necessary. By noon, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Melissa, eyes puffy and red. "You're packing my stuff?" she asked, looking past me at the boxes in the hallway. Seemed efficient. She stepped inside cautiously, like entering a stranger's home. "Can we talk now?" I gestured to the kitchen table. We sat across from each other, the polished wood between us like a no man's land. "How long have you known?" she asked. "Does it matter?" "It matters to me." I sighed. I suspected something was off for months. The late-night gym sessions, the new lingerie you never wore for me, the way you guarded your phone. But I had proof 3 months ago. "And you waited. Why?" "I wanted to be sure, and I needed time to protect myself, financially, emotionally." She flinched at that. "I still love you," she whispered. I laughed, a harsh, unfamiliar sound. "No, you don't. You love the stability I provide, the nice house, the vacations, the health insurance. But if you loved me, we wouldn't be having this conversation." "It's not that simple." "Actually, it is. You made choices, Melissa, multiple times. Every time you texted him, every time you lied about where you were going, every time you slept with him and then came home to me, those were all choices." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Derek makes me feel alive." "When was the last time we did anything exciting, James? When was the last time you looked at me like I was desirable, not just reliable?" The accusation stung because there was a kernel of truth in it. We had fallen into routines, comfortable, predictable. "So instead of talking to me about it, you decided cheating was the answer?" She looked down at her hands. "I tried talking. You didn't hear me." Maybe she was right. Maybe I hadn't listened, but that didn't justify betrayal. "The divorce papers," she said after a moment. "You're really going through with this? What did you expect, that I'd forgive and forget? I thought maybe we could try counseling, give us another chance." I studied her face, the face I'd woken up to for a decade, the face I'd once believed would be the last thing I'd see before I died, many years from now. "Why?" I asked. "So you can decide between me and Derek with a clear conscience? So you can tell yourself you tried everything before leaving?" Her silence was answer enough. "Take your things," I said. "My lawyer will be in touch about the house sale." As she gathered the boxes, she paused in the doorway. "I'm sorry, James. I really am." I nodded but said nothing. What was there to say? After she left, the house felt both emptier and somehow lighter, like pulling out a rotted beam, painful but necessary for the structure to heal. I called Alex. "She came for her stuff," I told him when he answered. "You okay, man?" "No, but I will be." "Come over. Sarah's making dinner. You shouldn't be alone." I almost declined, but the thought of another night in that empty house was unbearable. Alex and Sarah had been my friends since college. Their marriage was what Melissa and I had pretended to have. Honest, supportive, real. Their home was warm and chaotic. 2 kids running around, dishes in the sink, toys on the floor, no carefully curated perfection like my house with Melissa. "Uncle James!" Their daughter Emma launched herself at me. I caught her, feeling the first genuine smile in days spread across my face. Sarah handed me a beer. "We heard. I'm so sorry." "Thanks for having me over." "Always," Alex said, clapping my shoulder. "That's what family does." Family. The word hit differently now. Melissa and I had talked about kids, but after the miscarriage, she'd been hesitant. Now I wondered if that had been an excuse. Over dinner, I told them everything: the anniversary revelation, the divorce papers, the morning confrontation. You handled it better than I would have, Alex admitted. I'd have lost it right there in the restaurant. Sarah reached for my hand. What's your plan now? Sell the house, find an apartment, focus on work. That's not a plan, she said gently. That's logistics. She was right. I had no plan beyond survival. The next few weeks passed in a blur of paperwork and logistics. Melissa moved in with Derek. I stayed in the house until we found a buyer. My lawyer negotiated the division of assets: clean, efficient, clinical. At work, I threw myself into projects, staying late, coming in early. My boss noticed. Everything all right, Parker? He asked one evening, finding me still at my desk at 8. Just focus, sir. He studied me for a moment. Heard about your situation. Tough break. News travels fast in a company our size. If you need time off— I don't, I interrupted. Work helps. He nodded. Well, there's an opening for project lead on the Artemis account. Challenging stuff. Interested? The Artemis account was our biggest client. High pressure, high visibility, high reward. Absolutely. Good, it's yours. Meeting Monday at 9. The promotion should have felt like a victory. Instead, it felt like a consolation prize. Sorry your wife cheated. Here's a better job. That weekend, I finally cleared out the master bedroom, found Melissa's wedding ring in the bathroom drawer. She'd left it behind, forgotten or deliberate. Either way, it felt symbolic. I sold it to a pawn shop and donated the money to a domestic violence shelter. Petty, maybe. Cathartic, definitely. Monday's meeting went well. The Artemis team responded to my leadership, and for a few hours I forgot about my personal life. But evenings were still hollow, weekends stretched endlessly. Alex suggested I try dating apps. Get back out there, he encouraged. I downloaded one but couldn't bring myself to create a profile. The thought of explaining my situation to strangers exhausted me. 3 months after our anniversary dinner, the house sold. Splitting the proceeds meant I had a decent nest egg. I found a modern apartment downtown, the opposite of our suburban home. No yard to maintain, no memories lurking in corners. Moving day brought an unexpected visitor, Melissa standing awkwardly in the driveway as movers loaded the truck. What are you doing here? I asked, not unkindly, just surprised. I wanted to see the house one last time. She looked thinner, her designer clothes hanging loosely. And check on you. I'm fine. She nodded, unconvinced. I heard you got promoted. Congratulations. Thanks. Awkward silence stretched between us. Derek and I broke up, she finally said. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no hope. Just nothing. I'm sorry to hear that. She looked up, searching my face. Really? Yeah. I wouldn't wish this feeling on anyone. She stepped closer. James, I've been thinking— Don't, I interrupted. Whatever you're about to say, just don't. You don't even know what I was going to say. Weren't you going to suggest we reconsider the divorce, now that Derek's out of the picture? Her expression confirmed my guess. Melissa, you didn't leave me for Derek. You left me because something was broken between us. Derek was just an excuse. She blinked back tears. So there's no chance? Would you trust me if I had done what you did? She didn't answer. That's what I thought. I turned back to the movers. I need to finish up here. She nodded, defeated. Take care of yourself, James. You too. As she walked away, I realized I felt sorry for her. Not because Derek had dumped her, but because she'd never addressed what had driven her to cheat in the first place. She just traded one Band-Aid for another. The apartment downtown became my fresh start. Minimalist furniture, no mementos, a clean slate. The Artemis project consumed my days. Complex problems that required my full attention. Problems I could actually solve. unlike my marriage. 6 months after the anniversary dinner bombshell, our divorce was finalized. I signed the papers in my lawyer's office, feeling strangely calm, the end of a chapter. That evening, Alex and Sarah took me out to celebrate, though celebrate felt like the wrong word. To new beginnings, Alex toasted. I clinked glasses with them. To honesty, Sarah smiled. To finding yourself again. Finding myself, was that what I was doing? It felt more like reconstructing myself from scattered pieces. After dinner, they invited me back to their place, but I declined, needed time alone. Walking through the city streets, I found myself near the restaurant where Melissa had dropped her bombshell. On impulse, I went inside and asked for a table, the same table. The waiter recognized me. Just one tonight, sir? Just one. I ordered a steak and a glass of whiskey. As I ate, I realized something. I was okay. Not great, not healed, but okay. My phone buzzed with an email, a colleague from the industry conference I'd attended last month. James, great connecting with you at Tech Summit. Would love to grab coffee next time I'm in town. Elena, smart, funny. We'd talked for hours at the conference about everything from quantum computing to obscure sci-fi novels. She'd given no indication of romantic interest, just professional camaraderie, but I'd enjoyed her company. I typed back, "Coffee sounds great. Let me know when you're in town." It wasn't a date, just coffee, just conversation. But it felt like the first real step forward. 1 year after the anniversary dinner that changed everything, I returned to the same restaurant. This time, Elena sat across from me. "So this is the infamous restaurant," she said, looking around. I'd told her the story on our third date. No secrets, no hidden agendas. "This is it." She reached across the table for my hand. "Bold choice for our 6-month anniversary. I thought it was time to create a new memory here." She smiled, that brilliant, genuine smile that had first caught my attention. "I like that idea." The waiter approached with champagne, not the bottle I'd ordered for Melissa a year ago, but one I'd selected for this new occasion. "To honesty," I toasted, echoing my words from months earlier. "To healing," Elena added. "And to unexpected endings that become new beginnings." We clinked glasses, and I felt something I hadn't experienced in a long time. Hope. Not just contentment, not just acceptance, but genuine hope for the future. The betrayal had nearly broken me. But sitting there, 1 year later, I realized that sometimes the things we think will destroy us actually rebuild us, stronger, wiser, and more authentic than before. I smiled at Elena, feeling gratitude wash over me, not for what I'd lost, but for what I'd found in the aftermath.